All right, world, welcome back to Real Estate Solutions episode number 4. This is Alex Stanton, your host, the real estate agent and investor, Boston based, working on some analysis down in Providence today. So I'm going to show you a couple more properties that I think look interesting. I made a new spreadsheet to run numbers a little bit faster here, so we're going to whip through a handful today. First up, we've got 532 Union Avenue in Providence. This is a 10-bed, 4-bath, total of 4 units. It, I believe, is going to be 2-bed, 1-bath, 2 of those. Oh, excuse me, 2 3-beds and 2 2-beds. So here we go. Price point is at $349,900. I think that might be priced about right there. So we got 4 units, times 3-bed, 2 times 2-bed. So we're going to keep that purchase price right at the same and see what that pops out for us. So right now what we're looking at is I've run taxes for the investor and the owner-occupant. This is assuming that the tax assessor comes out and says, it's worth exactly what you paid for it. You're going to pay full price on that. There's a good chance that those taxes will come back a little bit lower, but I wanted to run conservative numbers here. We're assuming the insurance cost is going to be about $6 per thousand in value of the property. This, I think, should run out pretty well for us. This is comparable to what I'm paying for my property over in Belchertown. Then the utilities, we're looking at $80 per month per unit for water, as well as about $85 per month total for the building for trash removal and electricity. Those numbers could be up or down a little bit depending on the size of the units. Just above this, we have a 2-unit property with a 6-bed and a 2-bed. I'm pretty confident that that water cost is going to be a little higher for the 6-bed, so I might bump those numbers up later. The total rents, I'm going to pop in the actual current numbers off of the MLS listing, as well as the potential rental numbers based on rentometers. So first up, on the MLS listing, we have 1 vacant 2-bed there, and then we have a relative living in one of the other units. Probably that's the owner who's living in the vacant 2-bed. So we're going to go ahead and throw in those current numbers of 25. This is going to look pretty ugly for that particular price point. But we're going to go ahead and go through that whole process. Then we're looking at rentometer real quick. Always with all of these properties, you do have the potential to juice up the rents further by going room rentals. We always have that potential. First up, though, we're going to see what it looks like just as is. So we're going to go for that 3-bed. I'm going to start with 1,200 as our baseline. Internet is slowing down a little bit. Hopefully you're not experiencing any lag. Give me just 1 second here, and let's see what we get for that 3-bed. Okay, so we're looking at about 1,000 to 1,200 here. The higher end of the market is close to 1,500. Just a quick look, though, this is not a property with a massive amount of curb appeal. They also haven't taken any photos of the interior, so I think it's very likely it needs a little bit of work. So we're going to assume those 3-beds really do come in around 1,000. Unless, of course, we go room rentals, then we can get 500 a room, no problem. Then we're looking at like 1,500. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at that 2-bed and just get a quick look there. Probably we'll see pretty similar comps. Yeah, we're looking at 1,000 to 1,200 once again. So we're going to assume that we can get 4,000 comfortably for this property and just see what those numbers pop out to. So right now that's looking at a negative $94 a month in cash flow. However, there is always the possibility of a little bit more. 50% rule here. So I threw in one additional number for us, which is the 50% rule is pretty common in real estate. That assumes that beyond the actual mortgage payment, which is going to be just your principal and interest, you should assume that all the other expenses, taxes, insurance, vacancy, repairs, management, should add up to about 50% of your total rental income. So that assumes that of this 4,000, 2,000 every single month should be going to reserves for all of those expenses, you know, the taxes, the insurance, the utilities, everything. And then the remainder, whatever's paid off on the mortgage, is going to be pretty much all that comes out. That 50% rule is a little bit more generous than my numbers. Generally speaking, you can see based on these properties that I've run here, my numbers factoring in, you know, what the taxes would be on the highest end, plus, you know, my own reserves for insurance, utilities, everything else. I'm coming in between 55 and almost 80% on one property. That's just one where the taxes came in really high, like 20,000 at that full price purchase. That's not a property I would buy. Even the 50% rule says it's a negative cash flow. But then we got another one here where I think there's the potential, if you buy this is actually 100,000 below list price. That's where I think the right purchase price is for this one. There is actually potential for very significant cash flow with that 50% rule. It needs some upside. I think the property's in good condition. There's no chance of it selling 100,000 below asking. Absolutely not. But that doesn't mean don't make the offer. That's just where I would offer. Again, all of these are just some quick numbers run by me. Little disclaimer that I have not been putting in these videos, and I would like to just retroactively apply here is I'm not a financial advisor. I am a real estate agent, and I have my own investment strategy. You should always run your own numbers and determine a strategy that works for you. And don't hold me accountable if you take my word as law. Don't sue me. Thank you very much. All right, so on to the next one. Nice and quick here. I'm just going to quickly pull this hyperlink over, make sure that I've linked us over to realtor.com. There will be, oh, shoot. Hold on here. Messed up that hyperlink. There we go. All right, on to the next one. We are going to go through 36 Carter Street. This is another 4-family in Providence. I love me a good 4-family. This is 2 2-beds and 2 1-beds. Again, we're just going to pull that hyperlink real quick. Here we go. This one's priced a little bit lower. So both of these I highly expect will sell in a very short time period at or above asking. They're both very reasonably priced. There is definitely a gap here. I've seen quite a few properties that are well overpriced, and they will absolutely sit, but this is not one of them. This should just fly right off the market. It's fully occupied right now. They're saying they have parking for 6 cars. Laundry hookups in the basement are not currently in use. Tenants are paying all their own utilities, which is huge. Everything is sub-metered. Love it. That means you are not going to have to sweat a whole bunch of big updates when you get in there. Always take a look at what's going on in there. These are priced very low. You can see like $750 to $800 is our rent. Our total is coming in at $3,000 currently. Those numbers can definitely be higher. I almost don't care at all where you are in Providence. You should be able to exceed that for rents. This is another one where I think we can probably come back with close to $4,000 in rents, potentially more. This one is not going to have as much of an upside in terms of renting by the room as what Union Ave would have, because there are only a total of 6 bedrooms to rent out, whereas Union Ave had 10. However, this property's got better curb appeal. Looking through the photos here, let's see. Definitely needs updating, but at least we know what we're getting into. This is overall cosmetic stuff. There is a big hole in this wall, so it's gonna cost a little bit of cosmetic work to really get it to where it should be. But we should see some rental upside there. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this in and see what we get for our 2-bed. We are looking at about $1,000 to $1,200 again on the rents there. I think we can comfortably go with that $1,000, no problem for the 2-beds. The 1-bed is going to come in probably $100 less. I'm guessing $850 to $900 for that baseline. Just the fact that someone gets a private unit to themselves is always going to have a lot of value. We'll see when this loads. I hope this internet doesn't drop out altogether. All right, I'm going to continue moving forward. I'm going to assume about 900 there, so we're looking at 3,800 for potential rents. So this is barely going to cash flow, down that cost by $200 a month. But we're going to leave it as is. I don't want to go too loose with that analysis. I'd rather give us a higher reserve here. So I'm going to close this one and move on to the next one. You can see these are pretty small units. That's definitely a consideration, $550 per unit. So those rents may in fact not come up above that baseline of the market. If we make them nice, obviously they need some cosmetic work. We should be able to just exceed that baseline. All right, rent-o-meter is not playing nicely with me. There we go, $1,000 to $1,250. There we go. Okay, so we're on to the next one. This is Dora Street in Providence. I actually really like this one. This is actually 2 properties. There's a studio cottage in the back, which is very large. It's weird property, but I really like the ones that have 2 buildings. I don't like them in general for investing, but I really like them for trying to convince my girlfriend Gina to buy something with me, because she doesn't necessarily want to share a space with our tenants. But if we have something where we have a single family on one property as well as a small multifamily, then we might have something where she's a little more comfortable living there and managing the tenants. And that I think could be really great. So this one, we can see we've got a duplex up front and then a separate unit in the back. Assuming 2,500 square feet and vacant, there's got to be something that needs to be done to that. That's going to cost a little bit. Also, those 2-bed and 1-bath, they're not priced significantly below the market. So this really would be more of a house hack. But if that is really 2,500 square feet, you could probably turn that into like a 6-bed, 2-bath. That's going to cost you a bit, probably in the range of like 60 to 100 plus, depending on what needs to be done with that. However, then you've got yourself a beautiful large property that you could, live in 1 or 2 rooms, rent out a couple rooms. There's definitely some room there to make some improvements. So I think this could be a really cool property. I'm going to pop that into our spreadsheet and just start to see what we get. So did I hyperlink here? I sure did. So we have 3 units. We have a 2-bed, 1-bed studio situation, and they're listed for $280,000. I wish it was only $28,000. I would buy that in a second. All right, so again, we're going to pop in Dora Street to Rent-O-Meter and see what we pop out for a 2-bed there and a 1-bed. Let's go that one first. So here we go. This is a little bit of a cheaper area. We're looking at a 1-bed being between $800 and $1,000. So that's not going to run up a whole lot. We can probably get that $1,000 if it's in decent condition or we fix it up a little bit. Here we go. Let's pop this up to a 2-bed. And we're probably going to come in right around $1,100. I'm guessing someone else just pulled a pro forma for this. This might be a totally vacant property, which I don't hate. We're looking at $1,000 to $1,200. So their current rents of $1,900. The big upside here is really just that occupancy. Another big note here with my spreadsheet is we have a separate column for the owner-occupant option in terms of taxes. This will, as you can see, save you quite a lot. It's about a 40% discount for owner-occupants versus investors on what they're going to pay for insurance. That's an even bigger discount than what we get in Boston. So there's a big swing here. If you buy this property with an FHA loan or any sort of conventional owner-occupied loan rather than an investor's loan, you're going to pay significantly less on taxes. And I think that might carry over. Ask a tax pro, not me, ask a tax pro. I think that might carry over when you move out of it and trade into something else. If you then were to transfer into a portfolio loan because you wanted to put 4 of these properties together, I think that's where you would end up definitely paying that investor rate. But again, don't sue me. I am estimating and I don't know it all. Okay, so we're going to assume that we can make some improvements to that 2,500 square foot place. I think we could potentially be getting $2,000 for that. So that's really what I'm trying to see is, okay, so here we go. We've got about $400 of cash flow if we turn that into a 5 or 6 bed, 2-bath, and then we can very easily get that $2,000 for it. I think we might even be able to do more. Depending on the zoning, again, you might be able to turn that back 2,500 square feet into something else. So that's that back unit there, and that's the front. So looking into it, we can definitely see we're going to need like a big cleaning. Go through this thing with a toothbrush, rip out those carpets. We're going to update this a little bit. I'd probably keep the stove in the fridge, but maybe repaint the countertops, see what we can do to make it just pop a little more. The space looks like clean in the upstairs unit, but definitely cramped. So we have to see what, if anything, we can do to improve that feeling. That might be another reason why this is not renting for a lot. It's definitely a smaller cottage. But overall, I think that there is a very cute overall look to this. I think that perhaps this is someone who is using it as an Airbnb and they're selling because they can't do Airbnb right now. But I don't think that can't be done in the future. Anyway, on to the next one. I think there's some potential here. Again, I really like that one because there's the possibility that Gina and I could live there. So I'm gonna look at the next one. This is another 3-family. This one does not have any like big hack to it. This is fully occupied though. Current rents are also low. We're looking at 2 3s and a 1-bed. That 1-bed is probably fine. Those 3s need to come up like $300 or $400. So let's go ahead and run through this. real quick here. Popping in all of this. So this is going to be in, yeah, did it again. So this spreadsheet link will also be in the description for the video, so you can absolutely start running your numbers super fast. Like in the previous one, you should only be modifying the light yellow columns. The rest of it will take care of itself. You can go into these, if you really know how to work the spreadsheet, you can go into these and modify the coding like I did before on the taxes a few minutes ago, if you want to see what changing those numbers pops out. But remember, Control Z is your friend. If you mess something up, just hit that a couple times. All right, so 402 Potters Ave. Let's take a look at the rents over there. Here we go. So we're going to start with that 3-bed and see where we average. Next up, we're going to write down that purchase price, $289,900. 3, and we're looking at 3, 3, 1 bed. There we go. 289.9. And the current rents are at 2,600. Definitely not enough, but you won't have vacancy there. That is a very low price. I'm sure those tenants would stay for a long time. It's just a question of whether or not they're currently paying or they will pay. Looks like in this area, this rent is a little bit low. However, we're getting comps from far away, over up in the West End near the hospital. Down here, I think that's Elmwood. So there's a big range here. I don't love that. So I'm actually going to pull the pro report real quick. Really awesome little thing. Rentometer had a discount going. I got 200 pro reports for like $100, and I have the Rentometer Pro, which I can continue to run my analyses for a full year. Generally speaking, you get 5 for free, and then you're going to want to pay some sort of subscription to continue pulling your numbers here. And I love it. Okay, so this is a 3-bed renting for $1,350. That's our closest comp. So that makes me really happy. That's not far away. I do think that means we can get it. You know, it really depends on how much work this property needs. So we'll just go through real quick. Exterior looks fine. Interior definitely needs a little touch up. I don't know too many people that are going to be thrilled to move into a bright pink room. Doesn't mean it won't work for some families. I don't see anything wrong with letting the tenants paint their own walls if they really want to. If it makes them happy, makes them stay longer, great. You're going to have to repaint when they leave anyway. So here we go. Definitely needs some cleanup. Definitely could use a little touch up in the bathroom. You can see that's looking a little funky. Those tiles could get a little refresh, maybe a reglaze. You can get a pro to reglaze those for just a few $100. Looks like they painted over wainscoting a long time ago. That's actually not too bad. I would paint it white. Maybe either get a pro to clean that door, maybe replace it. It's not that expensive to replace. Personally, I might rather have a new door than spend an hour or 3 cleaning one. Kitchen looks all right. Overall, not bad. Could definitely stand to update the appliances. Looks like there's room for a microwave potentially up here if you wanted to add a little value there. There's some things that can be done, but nothing crazy about this property. It's all in pretty good condition. So that's not a super heavy cosmetic. I'm not allocating for that in this spreadsheet. As you can see, this is really just to run through super quick. So we're assuming we can pop those 3 beds up to 1,300. I'm going to assume like, you know, maybe 1,000 for the 1 beds. But let's look at that again. The 25th percentile there was 1,200, so we might keep that. I'm gonna go 2,400 plus 1,000 is 3,300 or 3,400. Wow, terrible math. Excuse me. All right, so we're looking at like just barely negative with those updated rents. So this is, again, not a property that I'd be thrilled about. There is potential that cash flow will really exceed things, but what I would recommend is if you decide to follow that 50% rule, do it after you've built up some reserves. Use my aggressive reserves. Save yourself 10 or 20,000 so that when something goes wrong, you've got it. And then maybe you can start to pull a little more cash flow. I think you should always be setting some reserves because you never know what's going to happen. And the more money you have in the bank, the better off you are at the end of the day. All right, last property for this morning. We're going to go through 15 Norwich Avenue. I think this is another 3-family. Yep, okay. Brand new roof in just the last month. First and second floor are month to month. Third floor is vacant. I love all that. The easier it is to move them on is perfect. Okay, that 2-bed is small, 500 square feet. The 3 beds are a decent size, 1,000 each. I'm going to assume that 2-bed is going to come in definitely on the lower end of the market based on that. We're definitely going to bump up those 3 beds though. So we're going to go ahead and pull that address right in here. So first up, right into Rent-O-Meter. We've got ourselves a 3-bed, 1-bath at Norwich Avenue. While that's loading, we're going to pull that hyperlink right into the spreadsheet. That loads. And there we go. Oops. Go ahead and get rid of that. And here we go. So our 3 beds, low end is 1,200, middle is about 13. So there's not a huge range here. Again, we have a very close comp. I'm going to go ahead and pull it for you guys today. Usually I'm pretty stingy with these, but I have 177 left for the year. I can handle using one. All right, so our closest comp is again at 1,350. Oh, that's actually the same comp we had for the previous apartment. Our next comp is at 1,200. Let's take a look at that location. All right, I'm not going to wait for that map to load. It'll get there, but let's just keep running through. So this one's listed at $259. I love that lower purchase price. Again, that's just going to get us better rates on the taxes. All right, we're looking at 332. Again, there's always that potential upside of renting those 2-bed and 3 beds out by the room. We've got 950, 950, and 0. So we're going to assume that's 1,700. Excuse me, 1,900 for those. We're going to assume that we can get a little bit more for that 3rd unit. So we're going to go up to 2,800 for the currents, just throwing someone in there for 900. And then we're also going to assume that we can bump up that rent for the 3-bed up to about 1,200. Then let's take a look at that 2-bed. So we're going at least 2,400 for those 2 3-beds put together. And then we're looking at another 1,050. So that's going to be 3,550 or 3,450. Going to be our pretty conservative potential rents. So we're looking at a slight amount of cash flow, about $230 a month there. That's not bad, and potential for up to like 750 down the line. I don't hate that. I do think that we're going to want to juice that up a little bit. You can definitely go renting by the room, especially if you decide to live in that 2-bed. I hope it's on the top floor so you don't have to listen to your neighbors stomping around. And then you rent out those 2 3-beds by the room for like $600 a piece. You could actually just get $3,600 just like that while living at a huge discount. So that would be amazing. If you then apply the rules to that to drop down that tax to the owner-occupant rate, you're saving yourself $3,000 a year there. Then you're looking at living not only for free, but actually cash flowing like $500 or $600 a month if you rent by the room and live there at the same time. So I actually love this one, and I am going to give it a little highlight so that I present it to Gina later. All right, I'm going to pop out of the share. So that was our real quick analysis of a handful of properties in Providence. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.